They told you the future would be coated in silicon. They didn't tell you it would be planted in your dinner. While you were staring at screens, someone else was buying the fields. Not a grain giant, not a farm family. A tech billionaire whose software ran your life now owns the ground that grows your food. Ask yourself why. Start with the part they admit. Through his investment arm, Cascade Investment, Bill Gates has quietly become the largest private owner of U.S. farmland. Hundreds of thousands of acres spread across the map. The headlines say diversification. The portfolios say long-term, inflation-hedged, cash-flowing asset. That's the lullaby. But farmland isn't just another line item. Farmland is water, soil, seed, and leverage. Farmland is supply. Control the supply, and you don't have to own the store. Look at the pattern. When the North Dakota purchase blew up online, 2,100 acres for roughly 8 figures, the Attorney General reviewed it and signed off. The deed moved. The crops keep growing. The public shrugged and moved on. That's how this works, bit by bit, parcel by parcel, until one day you wake up and realize the person who built your operating system might also have his hand on your food system. Now, the supporters will give you the sanitized version. They'll talk about sustainable ag, efficiency, and feeding the world. They'll point to philanthropic pages and glossy case studies about smallholder farmers overseas. They'll say precision ag, soil carbon measurement, methane reduction, innovation. They'll show you a smiling farmer holding a tablet and call it progress. And some of it is. Technology can help farmers. Yield matters, drought tolerance matters, but don't confuse a press release with a motive, because alongside the land grab is a second move you're supposed to ignore: remaking what we eat. Synthetic meat, fermented fats, alternative proteins engineered in labs, bundled into venture portfolios, and pitched as the climate-friendly replacement for beef and dairy. If you think that's a side hustle, you're not paying attention. When a billionaire investor publicly says rich countries should move to 100% synthetic beef, that isn't conversation. That's a roadmap. Fund the platforms, shape the policy, own the narrative. And while the culture wars yell about burgers, the supply chain shifts under your feet. Here's the uncomfortable question: why chase both sides, the dirt and the diet? Because the real power isn't at the checkout line. It's upstream. Seeds, inputs, data, distribution. Own enough key choke points and the menu writes itself. This is the oldest play in the game. Vertical influence without the optics of a monopoly. You don't have to own every acre to shape what grows on most of them. Finance the tech that optimizes fields, count the carbon, certify the practices, bankroll the alternatives, and suddenly the future of food is whatever your model says it is. This isn't just about cattle versus plants. It's about who gets to decide what good food means under a climate-era rulebook. Today, it's emissions per kilogram. Tomorrow, it's soil carbon scores. After that, it's fertilizer allowances, water credits, and satellite-verified compliance. Who sets those standards? Who sells the software that measures them? Who funds the startups that harvest the subsidies? The person who owns the land has a voice. The person who owns the infrastructure has a microphone. The person who owns the framework has the final cut. And while you're told this is all for the planet, watch where the money flows. Farmland has been the stealth winner in a world addicted to volatility, low correlation, hard asset, cash yield from crops and rents. With consumer prices swinging and currencies wobbling, the ground looks better every year. Add in public policy that steers trillions toward climate-smart agriculture, and the payoff isn't just corn and soy, it's carbon credits, preferred financing, tax treatment, and gatekeeping power over compliance. That's not conspiracy, that's strategy. Let's talk motives the PR won't. Gates is a technocrat to the bone. He thinks in systems, levers, and feedback loops. He believes genuinely that technology can solve human problems: disease, hunger, energy. He backs vaccines, diagnostics, and pandemic playbooks because he believes coordinated science beats chaos. He backs synthetic foods because he believes software can fix the atmosphere faster than ranchers can. You don't have to agree with him to understand him, and understanding him is how you see the threat. Not mustache-twirling villainy, but centralized certainty armed with limitless capital. What happens when that certainty writes the script for what goes in your fridge? Imagine a world where best practice contracts are tied to sensors you don't control, where retailers prefer verified crops from fields plugged into cloud dashboards, where insurance, credit, and buyers all want the same data, the same metrics, the same compliance. You can grow something else, just don't expect to sell it. That's not a ban, that's a bottleneck. And a bottleneck feels a lot like a ban when your margins are razor thin. Meanwhile, the alternative protein push keeps reshaping expectations. The more we normalize lab-built fats and engineered meat, the more leverage lands with the people who own the IP and the scaling factories. If they dominate the story on Planet Friendly, they don't have to outlaw your steak. They can socially debank it. Kill the demand with policy nudges, procurement rules, and corporate pledges. Starve it of shelf space. Train a generation to call it dirty. Do that for a decade and the market makes the moral argument for you. So why buy the farmland at all if the lab wins? Because transition is messy and profits are everywhere on the path. You can rent the ground, capture the credits, pilot the tech, shape the standards, and harvest the upside, whether the future is regenerative grazing, row crops under AI, or stainless steel bioreactors in an industrial park. Heads, the field pays. Tails, the factory pays. Either way, the model wins. And don't forget the soft power. Owning acres earns you legitimacy at ag conferences, state houses, and land-grant universities. It's hard to dismiss a tech guy who also markets a few 100,000 acres of corn and potatoes. When he says this is what farmers need, he's not just an outsider anymore. He's a stakeholder. That badge opens doors. None of this requires a cartoon villain. It requires a calculus. Centralized solutions scale faster than decentralized ones. Capital can steer both regulation and culture, and food is the perfect lever because 3 times a day, every human votes with their mouth. You can ignore politics, you can't ignore hunger. Here's the part they really hope you never say out loud. Once food is scored, counted, and credentialed, whoever runs the scoring system owns the future. If you control the API for what counts as sustainable, you control what counts, period. Maybe that's better for emissions, maybe it's better for investors, maybe it's both. But is it better for freedom, for choice, for the rancher with 600 head and a note at the bank, for the family that wants milk, not a molecule reverse engineered from carbon dioxide? This isn't an anti-tech rant, it's a warning about consolidation dressed up as salvation. We've seen this movie before. Media, software, retail. First they digitize, then they standardize, then they centralize. Then you get a dashboard that decides for you. By the time you notice, the option you wanted is technically allowed and practically unavailable. So why is Bill Gates buying America's farmland? Because land is leverage in a century defined by food, climate, and data. Because owning soil gives you a seat at every table from USDA to Davos. Because the same mind that built an empire on an operating system understands that the next OS won't run on laptops. It'll run on land, rules, and what's for dinner. You don't have to hate him to be wary of the framework he's building. You just have to decide whether you want your children's meals designed by a handful of investors and committees, or by a messy, resilient network of people who actually live on the land. The future will not ask politely. It will arrive as a policy, a purchase order, a partnership announcement, an app update. And when you look up, the menu will already be written. They told you the future would be coded in silicon. They were half right. The rest will be harvested. You be the judge. If you're awake, you already know what to do. Hit the link in our description and sign up to our free underground newsletter.